Hello, I'm Paul Beckwith. The consequences of abrupt climate change are becoming horrific. As people age, they start thinking about death more, about their own mortality. And you make a choice and usually leave it in your will or tell a spouse as to whether you want to be cremated or buried, what the final arrangements will be for the end of your life on the planet. For a large number of people in Paradise, California, in the last week, they didn't have that choice. They were essentially cremated in their homes, in their workplaces, in their cars, wherever they happened to be when these wildfires surged through the town, driven by very, very fast Santa Ana winds with gusts, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles per hour. And the the horrific drought that they've been seeing in California. Drought that's unprecedented in terms of the amount of dryness. The air was so dry that it was sucking moisture out of the soils and vegetation. And this is because of climate change. There's no question. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the science of what's happened and, what will it take for humanity to react appropriately to the climate change emergency that is upon us. So let's get into the nitty gritty of what's been happening. Okay, so this is my website, paulbeckwith.net. And in the last post, there were a number of tweets. This was some images of the fire down in Southern California, Thousand Oaks, Malibu, and of course the fire up in the Camp Fire, which was up just to the northeast of Chico, California. There's Paradise here. This fire came down here. And we're talking about a town of 27,000 people, almost completely incinerated. I don't need to show you lots of images of the fire damages, but this particular image here shows you what we've got is average precipitation from May to October in inches here, 0 to 7. And we've got the average of the daily mean temperature from May to October in degrees Fahrenheit. So this is 64 up to 72 Fahrenheit, 0 up to 7 inches. And what we can see is the different colors show the different fires and the conditions of those that occurred for those times. So down here, it's very hot temperatures and very dry temperatures. From 2000 to 2018 is the red dots. And you can see that they're all over here. The temperature is warmer, and the vast majority of them are falling in the dry quadrant here. So 2003, 2017, 2018. Okay, so there's more and more of these fires are occurring in this region. This is a direct result of climate change. It's a direct result of the changing patterns in the jet streams. So if you're not following me on Twitter, please do so at Paul H. Beckwith. So this is my Twitter feed here, and what you can do is I posted lots of stuff on the science and what's actually going on with these fires. We're not out of the woods yet. So the latest of the fires, 76 dead, almost 1,300 people missing, 46,000 displaced. Millions of people are breathing the worst air quality in the world. The particulates from the fire, especially the PM 2.5 which are particles that are smaller than 2.5 micron. You breathe them in, they can go very, very deep into your lung, lodge there, and lead to all kinds of health problems, including chronic problems such as lowering your expected lifespan. Of course, many places around the world, in China, well, within third world countries, not so third world anymore, but India and China, fastly developing loads of pollution, lots of reduced lifespans, of 10 years, 15 years in many major cities just because of the industrial pollution. Well, these people are breathing in these particles, and schools and universities have been closed at places, as far north as San Francisco, for example, due to these fires. It's so bad. Here it is, some of the worst air quality in the world at the moment. I thought, okay, so if you want to get more targeted information, then do a search here in the search bar. So I just typed in, for example, Paradise here. And where is Paradise? I should show you, first of all, where it is. So I have Google Earth Pro here. I just typed in Paradise, California. Here we are right here. So to give you an idea, it's sitting right here. Okay, there's San Francisco, San Jose. So, it's quite far. And we get down here. There's LA down here. Okay, just to give you an idea. So it's way up here in Northern California. Okay, so you can get the latitude and longitude by hovering here, reading it off the bottom screen there. And I'll be using that in a few minutes. But so I'm looking at the top tweets in Paradise. So, Trump has gone completely crazy. He's trying to say that this fire, you just need to rake brush, and they do it well in Finland, and we can learn. We'll never have these fires again because we'll be raking. Well, it's absurd. I mean, the levels of absurdity coming from the U.S. government are just unbelievable. Precipitation anomalies in California, very, very dry, as I've said. Okay, this is also very useful when you do this search. If you do latest, okay, you can get the latest tweets. So once again, the electrical company is being investigated. Last year, of the 21 fires, I believe 17 were caused by transmission lines, usually being blown over by the Santa Ana winds, causing sparks, and then igniting these fires. No mass cell phone alert. Didn't work as it was supposed to in Paradise. So you can see all the latest stuff here. And the latest numbers from what I last saw was 71 dead and about 1,300 people missing. Now, the problem is these numbers, originally, when the fire occurred, rescue workers, emergency personnel, they went through the rubble and they were identifying bodies, and the body count started going up of people killed. Then they realized that people were just totally cremated, totally incinerated, and there's almost no sign of these people left, maybe a little pile of bones or something. So the forensics is now, over time, now they're starting to go through and find more and more people, the remains of people. And also they're looking at it from the other side. They're looking at, okay, we've got there's 27,000 people in the town. How many people can we account for in the shelters, etc.? And that gives you that number of people missing is continuing to rise. Over here, you can, if you do a search, there's lots of Paradise fires, Paradise, California. There's lots of different hashtags where you can find information on the people, and it's just incredibly, you know, heartbreaking, this disaster. Now, the conditions I've talked about, super dry. The air is actually so dry it's been sucking moisture out of the ground. This is one of the neighborhoods, and you can see the signatures of where the houses were. And one of the questions is, okay, you see these trees here, they appear to be relatively undamaged. So what's going on there? Well, these fires are burning so hot that there's massive convection. The very, very hot, okay, first of all, the houses are catching fire a lot easier than the trees. I mean, the bark is protecting the trees somewhat. The houses are flammable, so they're catching fire. Fires are burning so hot in the houses that there's local updrafts that are extremely strong. They're also burning, using up most of the oxygen, as you can imagine, these horrendous fires. So these huge convective updrafts, you need air to be sucked in from the surrounding areas, and so there's a lot of turbulent activity in the fire. So there's a lot of pressure differences. So, you know, the updraft here will create a low pressure area over this region that sucks in air from all above, which is higher pressure areas. So the air is constantly moving in and cycling up. So we're seeing all of these turbulent features, turbulent activity in this fire, which leaves some areas relatively untouched and areas next to it completely charred. Forget about those conspiracy theories about directed energy beams and stuff like that. I'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Okay, so, you know, it burned so hot that people were cremated in their homes and cars. And there's not much sign left of the bodies of these people. Okay, so, you know, this is also, you know, these are some rescue workers that are searching through the debris. I mean, you know, anything organic, you know, any person, I mean, there's almost no sign of them left because these fires are just burning so hot. So let's have a look at the progression of the fire. Okay, so I've got Earth Null School here, if it'll cooperate. Okay, it has every other time. Why is the screen not working here? Okay, so, ugh. Okay, so here we go. So I'm on Earth Null School. I'm looking at the chemistry. I'm looking at carbon monoxide. And I set it back to November 8th at 1900 local time, so that's 7 at night. And I'm going to cycle up every 3 hours. So what you can see is the there's not much going on here. Okay, if I go forward, okay, so Paradise is up here in this area, something like that. And if I cycle up, okay, cycle up, okay, so this is starting to produce carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is produced from incomplete combustion. There's always going to be a signature, so I advance 3 hours, November 9th, and let's keep going. Now the fire is picking up here. There's more CO produced. Okay, it's getting a lot more intense. Okay, so I'm just cycling up 3 hours. So you can see the extent of the carbon monoxide as it's being detected by the satellite and modeled in this program. So I'm cycling through at 3 hour increments, and you can see the significance of the fire. So we're up to November 11th at 4 a.m. and it's shifting location a bit. So let's just go back to here. Okay, and what you can see is extremely high levels of CO. There's high levels of carbon dioxide, and there's high levels of particulates. So I'll have to continue